right, good. So I'm married. Ages ago, I got quite a long time. I've been married for a while. I got married to my wife. Seemed appropriate. She was my childhood. You know, they call it childhood sweetheart. I met her when I was 17. I met her when I was 17. And actually, here's something that's probably quite uncommon these days, and probably something you don't want to know. But I actually lost my virginity to the woman I ended up marrying. It's not quite as sad as it sounds, but it's pretty fucking close. But I love her very much, you know, and I've written a lot of songs about her. Come, I thought you left because of the God bashing. So, it's so hard to tell these days, you know, Pentecostal, small bladder, I don't know, you know. I've written a lot of songs for Sarah, for that is her name, over the years, and I always try to include one in my show just as a sort of thank you, really, because I just can't imagine my life without her, basically, and so this is for you, Sarah. It's called If I Didn't Have You. Yeah, if I didn't have you. Yeah. If I didn't have you to hold me tight. If I didn't have you to lie with at night. If I didn't have you to share my sighs and to kiss me and dry my tears when I cry, will I really think that I would have somebody else? If I didn't have you, someone else would do. Your love is one in a million. You couldn't buy it at any price. But of the 9,999,000 of the possible statistically, some of them would be equally nice. Or maybe not as nice, but say smarter than you. Or dumber, but better at sport. Or fucking tracing. I'm just saying I probably have somebody else. Yeah. If I didn't have you, someone else would do. If I were a rich man, diddle 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 dee, I guess I would be either a surgeon or a model or a rally of the Royals or a Kennedy or an infomaniacal exhibitionist heiress to a large chain of hotels. If I were a rich man, maybe I would fiddle, fiddle, diddle, diddle with the rich man girls. I'm not saying that I'd not love you if I was wealthy or handsome, but realistically, there's lots of fish in the sea, and if I had a different rod, I would conceivably land some. Even though I am fiscally consistently pitiable and considerably less Brad Pitt than Brad Pitiful, am I really so poor and ugly that you think only you could possibly love me? And I probably have somebody else. If I didn't have you, someone else would do. I'm not undervaluing what we've got when I say that given the role chaos inevitably plays in the inherently flawed notion of fate, it's abstruse to deduce I found my soulmate at the age of 17. It's just mathematically unlikely that at a university in Perth I happen to stumble on the one girl on earth specifically designed for me. And if I may conjecture a further objection, love has nothing to do with destined perfection. The connection is strengthened, the affection simply grows over time, like a flower or a mushroom or a guinea pig or a vine or a sponge or bigotry or a banana. And love is made more powerful by the ongoing drama of shared experience and the synergy of a kind of symbiotic empathy or something. So I trust it goes without saying that I would feel really very sad if tomorrow you were to fall off something high or catch something bad. But I'm just saying, I don't think you're special. I mean, I think you're special, but you fall within a bell curve. I mean, I'm just saying, probably have somebody else. I think you are unique and beautiful. You make me happy despite being around. But objectively, you would have to agree that, baby, when I found you, options were relatively thin on the ground. You're lovely, but there must be girls as lovely as you, and maybe more open to spanking or fucking table tennis. I'm just saying, probably. I mean, I reckon it's pretty likely that if, for example, my first girlfriend Jackie hadn't dumped me after I kissed Winston's ex-girlfriend Nia at Steph's party back in 1993, enough variables would probably have been altered by the absence of that event to have meant the advent of a tangential narrative in which we don't meet, which is to say there exists a theoretical, hypothetical, parallel life where what is not as it is, and I'm not your husband and you are not my wife, and I am a stuntman living in LA, married to a small blonde Portuguese skier who, when she's not training, does abstract painting, practices yoga and brews her own beer, and really likes making home movies and suffers neck down alopecia. But with all my heart and all my mind, I know one thing is true. I have just one life and just one love, and my love, that love is you. And if it wasn't for you, darling, you possibly have somebody else. Someone else would surely do the motherfucker, yeah. So I wrote that song because I thought after all the nastiness, I should write something that wouldn't offend anyone, you know. But there's always one, you know. I came out of my show a couple of months ago and first started performing that song, and there was a girl, a young woman, waiting to talk to me, 19 or 20, I reckon. And at some point I said, "So, did you enjoy the show?" And she said, "Yeah, it was really good, mostly." And I went, "Okay, what didn't you like?" And she said, "It's just, I liked it all. It's just that if I didn't have you, the sexist one, you know, I just don't like that sort of sexist comedy. I just don't find it funny." I was just sitting there the whole time thinking, what it would be like, you know, being your wife, being the subject of such a sexist song. And I said, "Oh, you studying feminism at uni?" I didn't say that. I should have said that. But I realised immediately that she'd made a mistake, because she obviously thought that was a song about love or relationships or something. It's quite clearly a song about maths. And also, I thought, well, what a hypocrite, you know, because actually, if you think about it, she was being sexist in making the rather condescending assumption that my wife as a woman couldn't handle that, you know, sort of humour, that my wife is some kind of wilting flower of a woman who cowers in the corner of my kitchen as I periodically beat her with bags of comedy oranges. But that's not the case. I mean, Sarah and I share a sense of humour. Obviously, we've been together almost half our lives. She made me like this. However, if anyone still thinks I'm sexist, I'll give you an example of Sarah's sense of humour, just to clear it up. A little bit of backstory for this one. A couple of years ago, Sarah and I went and did a baby, and it was good. You should definitely do one if you want, but I want to tell you something, because I didn't know this, right? When you first get your first baby, when they're little things, first couple of months, you spend your whole life scared shitless, because tiny babies, they sleep all the time, and when they sleep like this. They go... And that's how little babies are. So anyway, when my baby was about that age, sort of 2 months old, my wife and I, it was evening, it was, you know, nighttime, and we'd put her to bed in our little cot, in our little room, in our little house, in our little lives. And we were sitting there on our medium-sized sofa watching quite a big telly and just trying to watch a movie, you know, it's evening and just trying to relax and chill out together. And about a quarter of the way through the movie, I said to Sarah, I'm just going to pop in and check on the baby. And Sarah said, Tim, don't go and check on the baby. Just sit down and relax for once. I mean, if she's asleep, you'll just wake her up. And if she's dead, there's not much we can do about it. We might as well watch the end of the movie. Get an hour and a half more happiness before our life collapses. So don't worry about my sick fucking wife. Although, have you noticed, everyone has a line, don't they, with dark humour. Everyone has their line, you know. I've never met anyone who doesn't say, yeah, I've got a really black sense of humour, you know, I really like dark comedy, but everyone has a line, you know, that's really funny, that's very funny. Oh, I'm outraged, I'm going to write a shit letter to a bad newspaper, you know, like I find that line difficult to navigate, you know, I always have, even in my private life, and still. Just a few months ago, I was in my kitchen, and my baby, who at that stage was not quite 2, was just wandering around the kitchen. I was making a sandwich. I noticed she'd found something and stuck it in her mouth, you know, they'd put in the mouth. I said, darling, come here. What have you got in your mouth there? Spit it out. Good girl. Darling, you don't put coins in your mouth. Coins are dirty, aren't they? Coins are yucky. Yeah, you don't put coins in your mouth. Your mouth is for food. And a little later on, cock. See? I knew that was funny, right? That's funny, isn't it? Exactly, but my wife was in the kitchen. And my wife was like, Tim, for Christ's sake, you can't say that. She might like pussy.